I'm all too familiar with the bottled up emotions and false stoicism that men force upon themselves. Intimacy can be scary, especially for men who fall victim to an unhealthy masculine identity. This tends to manifest itself through external acts of aggression, whether they be physical or otherwise. Felix and Sylvain from Fire Emblem Three Houses are incredibly accurate representations of those struggles, and their arcs provide meaningful insight on finding solace and peace in spite of all of it. Felix is a self-isolating man who verbally abuses anyone who gets close within arm's length. Sylvain is manipulative and takes his anger out on the women in his life. I think it's valuable that we keep those core traits in mind as we dive into the details of their supports. Their first support conversation is, unsurprisingly, immature and antagonistic. Sylvain's proposal to go hang out with girls is a thinly veiled attempt at reconnecting with his old friend, and Felix's anger seems less directed at the proposal and more like he's trying to give Sylvain honest advice. Sylvain's apology is met with a simple sigh from Felix, and the support ends without either of them actually acknowledging the other. Talking past each other and using distant language prevents them from getting any closer or resolving whatever issues they may have with each other. Their second support, while an improvement in some ways, is by and large the same. Felix makes an apology for being so harsh, but it all ends up going down a similar path. Their next support conversation is a notable improvement. For one, they actually address each other's emotions. Felix thanks Sylvain for saving his life on the battlefield, and Sylvain tells him it's just what friends do. They share a brief exchange before they return to putting their guards up. Felix distances himself by withholding information, and Sylvain once again brings up philandering with women as a defense mechanism to avoid talking about anything serious. Their final support is a true heart-to-heart. I think the progress they made is best demonstrated in the final moments of this conversation. Felix scolds Sylvain for risking his life again, and while they exchange some jabs, it ends with Felix saying, "Sylvain, thank you." Sylvain replies, "That's what friends are for, Felix." I think it's a nice touch that they say each other's names here to show that they're actually addressing each other, unlike what they were doing in the earlier conversations. And there's not really a single instance in this conversation of Sylvain redirecting the conversation. Felix also manages to show real vulnerability and intimacy through his concern for Sylvain and his sincere gratitude at the end of their conversation. What makes this whole support so touching is that there is an ending for these two characters, where they will just end up together as friends who fulfill each other's emotional needs for the rest of their lives. This is a great example of two men who suffer from intimacy and relationship issues, finding peace and comfort and love in a platonic, healthy relationship built on a foundation of trust and communication. And we see that develop slowly over their supports. There's a reason all of this is so important to me, and it's because while the rate of depression and mood disorders is notably higher in women than men die by suicide at a significantly greater rate than women do. It's hard to synthesize all the variables that cause this discrepancy, but the two biggest are that, one, men don't seek help. They can often struggle with connecting with people, fear a weak perception, or are distrusting of others. It's a form of false stoicism that is a pervasive issue for men who are conditioned by our culture to bottle up their emotions. The second main reason is that men are not the best at reaching out to others. We struggle with communicating our real feelings and often address each other in ways that maintain some level of distance. This prevents the formation of a healthy support network and also means that the depression rates in men may be severely underreported. Men's mental health also manifests as violence against others a lot of the time, unfortunately, especially marginalized groups. Toxic masculinity encourages a mentality of control over those who you perceive as weak. This means they take out their issues through sexism, racism, and other forms of prejudice and bigotry. We see Felix and Sylvain attack others, especially in Sylvain's case, women who he sees as the enemy due to his own insecurities. However, over the course of their supports and the course of the entire game, we see them mature and open up and let go of some of that toxicity. Their arc is a subtle and compelling demonstration of how important it is for us to reach out to each other. So I encourage you all to find a person who you can lean on, especially for all the fellas out there who may feel like they're completely alone. Having someone you trust and love can help you get through so much. Down below, I'm going to link a charity site that has some suicide prevention charities. I try my best to vet any charities that I recommend people endorse, but at the end of the day, I'm still human. I suggest you also look through them, give them a little background check, and vet them yourself so that you're donating to a cause that you support, believe in, and trust. Thank you, and have a good one.